Proverbs 6. Now, so note here that this one does not start with an admonition to begin with. It's it's a different kind of start here. But my son, if you have put up security for your neighbor or friend, or entered into an agreement with, or shaken hands with a stranger, think of or foreigner. Okay, so the word for stranger can refer to foreigner, Israelite outside one's family, or simply to another person. If you have been trapped by the words of your lips or mouth, ensnared by the words of your mouth, do this then, my son, and free yourself. For you have to put yourself in your neighbor's power. For you have put yourself in your neighbor's power. Go and humble yourself and plead with your neighbor. Don't give sleep to your eyes or slumber to your eyelids. Escape like a gazelle from the hunter, from the hand of the hunter, like a bird from the fowler's trap or hand. So now this is very interesting. So it's usually interpreted as uh, being in debt, um, and so yeah. So I just have to point this out. Yeah, I love those technical problems and then the brain problems at the same time. It's been one of those days. But the thing I'd like to note about this is that this is often thought of as being in debt, but it's kind of one of those things where there's two different types of things here. It's if you put up security for your neighbor, in other words, you've co-signed on their loan, or you've entered into an agreement with a stranger. And so there's a common way to interpret that as just being in debt in general. And I would agree that that is something where it's just like you're in an agreement with this complete stranger, right? So it's very prevalent in that way. So the the notion is to free yourself, to get out of that debt, to negotiate your way out of it, humble yourself, plead with your neighbor, um, escape that, to get out of that. Um, and I think there's some debts that the Bible talks about that are just fine, and others that just really are not. And so, in our modern interpretation, these would be kind of like those debts of convenience or things we've been talked into. Um, I have a very big problem I've noted before with some influencers out there in the world that are very much into, oh yeah, my program's absolutely going to work for you. So I think God wants you to take a loan out to do this. That's kind of what this is, kind of things that we were talking about, or even worse. That's even worse things that I've seen young people get roped into, and I think Dave Ramsey's right. I mean, there's a reason why the first thing that the college kids have pitched to them is debt, and then they show up and they get a T-shirt or whatever for getting a credit card application and that sort of thing. It's just like one of those things where it's like it comes very quickly upon them, and so uh, they need to be armed with this. And yes, laziness. Go to the ant, you slacker. Observe its ways and become wise. Without leader, administrator, or ruler, it prepares its provisions in summer. It gathers its food during harvest. How long will you stay in bed, you slacker? When will you get up from your sleep? A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the arms to rest. and your poverty will come at you like a robber, your need like a bandit. I've always enjoyed this. The go to the ant. And it's really just a matter of just if there's ever a message of the need for self motivation, it's this, right? So it's just like, well, the ants get up, they do their thing, they gather at the right time, so that they don't have to be out and about when it's cold. They gather while it's there, but they do so without being prompted to do it. So that whole lazy bones slacker. When you're gonna get up, and then a little sleep, a little slumber, or you can reverse that and say a little slumber, a little sleep. Um, just a just a little poverty coming like a robber. Yeah, it's true in our lives in general. Just if we take those little moments of saying, well, it's just this one little thing. It's just I'm just gonna sleep in this one day. It's just no big deal. I'm just gonna you know, I know I should be at work and I'm just going to take a nap or whatever that looks like. The little things that we can excuse ourselves. Oh, I'm just, I'm feeling a little off today. I just need a personal day. Yeah. A little slumber, a little sleep. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Verse 12. A worthless man, a wicked man, goes around speaking dishonestly, winking his eyes, signaling with his feet, and gesturing with his fingers. He always plots evil with perversity in his heart. He stirs up trouble. Therefore, calamity will strike him suddenly, be shattered instantly beyond recovery. So, this is just a warning of what to look for. And again, I'm sure that most of us hearing this are, well into adulthood at that point, and some like myself are well into adulthood. But maybe we need some reminders sometimes of what this looks like. Those little gestures that are important to note, that we need to be aware of. That is something else. Just like we need to see the signs. We need to be not ignorant. Just because somebody's saying something doesn't mean that's what they actually mean. Verse 16. These are the count things. The 6, 7, 4, 5, this sort of thing. So the Lord hates 6 things. In fact, 7 are detestable to him: arrogant eyes, a lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood, and a heart that plots wicked schemes, feet eager to run to evil, a lying witness who gives false testimony, and one who stirs up trouble among brothers. And of course, as promised, a little bit of the awkwardness here. I mean, this is like, it is kind of an odd pattern, isn't it? That this is just stuck in there. And again, it's kind of like that. I always kind of the picture of the post-it notes. It's like, so these collections are each like maybe a write up that was given or something like that. Yeah, it's hard to know. We're not really told, but that's the way they kind of present themselves. My son, keep your father's command and don't reject your mother's teaching. There's that admonition. So, I, if you're one of those people that would argue this being a new chapter, I would agree with you, even though it would be really short, because of the pattern here. It would kind of work that way. But always bind them to your heart, tie them around your neck. So we got a preview of for tomorrow. Yeah. When you walk here and there, they will guide you. When you lie down, they will watch over you. For when you wake up, they will talk to you. For a command is a lamp, a teaching is a light. Corrective discipline is the way to life. Note that corrective discipline. So why? Well, they will protect you from an evil woman, from a married woman, from the flattering tongue of a stranger, or the smooth tongue of a stranger. Don't let the lust in your heart for her beauty. Oh, sorry. Don't lust in your heart for her beauty, or let her captivate you with her eyelashes. For a prostitute's fee is only a loaf of bread, or an account of a prostitute, one is left with only a loaf of bread. I think I've seen that before, yeah. But an adulteress, or the wife of a man, goes after a precious life. It's saying as a it might seem the same, but there's a different consequence here. It's not saying to chose one over the other. It's just saying that this is seemingly innocent, but it's far worse. That's what it's actually saying here. Can a man embrace fire and his clothes not be burned? Or take fire to his bosom? Another way to say that. Can a man walk on burning coals without scorching his feet? So it is with the one who sleeps with another man's wife. No one who touches her will go unpunished. So people don't despise the thief if he steals to satisfy himself when he's hungry. Still, if caught, he must pay 7 times as much. He must give up all the wealth in his house. Now, the one who commits adultery lacks sense, or commits adultery with a woman lacks sense. Whoever does so destroys himself. He will get a beating or plague. Interesting. And dishonor. And his disgrace will never be removed. For jealousy enrages a husband. He will show no mercy when he takes revenge. He will not be appeased by anything or be persuaded by lavish gifts. Rightfully so. There seems to be a common theme here of what can I get away, or thinking he'll get away with something. That's a common thing of the youth. And I you know I gotta say, it feels sometimes like the culture is regressing a bit, like it's getting younger at heart and not realizing it. That it is something where it's like it's still in that place of well, or going back to that place of youth in a lot of ways. And so we're, whether it's because we are, jealous of how what we're seeing on, like, the people on all the socials. I don't know what is causing this exactly, but it could be also that we're living longer lives, and so we're kind of extending our childhood, if you will, or trying to relive it, that sort of thing. I can speak from my perspective, from Generation X. We are all about nostalgia, all about it. We'll pay really good money to go see something that we saw years ago, or to experience something we experienced years ago. It's just one of those things that's just our thing. And so it's, I will say that it can be like returning to youth and that sort of thing. But we've got to recognize that that can come with it if we're not careful. Some of these thoughts of, well, there won't be consequences. There's things I can do without worry or whatever, and we need to be aware of that sort of things. And so, as a culture, we are facing these kind of things. And so this is relevant. This is not just for a young person to hear. This is for us to hear. And especially when it comes to the treatment of adultery and things like that, we need to be aware that there is a correlation that's made in the Bible more than once about the church being like this. And so, as the church seeks to be young and fun, we see a lot of churches out there that are going so seeker friendly that they're ignoring things that will be like putting coals in their lap. It really is something where they're playing with fire in this way, and they are basically cheating on God by denying him. And I, for one, won't stand for it. I hope that the people that are hearing this are in the same boat. I hope that people are actually hearing this, since it's been a challenge today, but I think it's good. But at the same time, we need to recognize that it's fine to embrace parts of youth, that innocence, that sort of thing. That is fine, as long as it isn't coming with these kind of things, where it is that ignorance of it, or the defiance can be a big way to say this too. And so, yeah, in any case, yeah, just had to say that. I've just been growing in concern about that. And it's a hard thing, because Christians in a lot of circles um, tend to become gatekeepers and things like that. It's like, oh no, you need to talk about it this way, and you need to be this exact way, and yada yada. But yeah, the honest truth is, we just need to be people that are seeking after God and His wisdom, and living that grace through Christ to be able to do that. And that's the only way. That's the only way we can really do it. And so, as long as that is being truly preached, as long as we are reaching people with the gospel, then I'm happy. But if we are getting into all these weird, you know, you can call it woke, I don't care. The reality is, if we're ignoring scriptures because they're inconvenient, if we are ignoring entire passages because they don't fit with today's society, then you got to go. That's just not acceptable. There's certain things where I just like, I won't, I won't tolerate that. But that's blaspheming to me. And so, a lot of other things, am I going to let go? Yeah, because they're not salvation issues. So there's that. So there's that discernment. That's what comes out of this, is to know that path. And so we need to be reminded of this, even though we feel young at heart. We need to be aware of the wisdom of the ages, and live in that the same way we would instruct a child to do so. We need to instruct ourselves in that way. So I hope that was helpful to somebody today. Um, Somebody needed to hear it. It was probably me. In fact, it likely was me. So be aware, be cautious, and I love you guys. And yeah, hope for the best tomorrow. Bye now.
Dreams are dead. Poverty creeping like a thief, hands folded.